Guten Tag. In this video, I'm going to rank the most unhinged Warhammer miniatures I have ever created. And this is the second part of the video. If you haven't seen it, you can click here and watch the first part. And trust me, you don't want to miss out because this video contains some very questionable things. I don't even have words for some of these abominations. Let's dive right into part 2 of me rating my most unhinged Warhammer miniatures. And let's get cooking. This is Mushu from Mulan. Okay, now I see the googly eyes. Yeah, we're not gonna talk about the eyes, but I love the carapace and I also love the color scheme in general. And this was also my kind of my first freehand I did on the base. And I think he looks so cute. Yeah, we're just not gonna talk about the eyes. I would rate him a C tier, but because of the freehand on the base and because it was just like my first try, I would rate him maybe a B tier. To be just not so hard on myself. Yeah, he's cute. Okay, so we're getting close to my 4th month of miniature painting. I am still trying to just survive, just learn stuff. And I painted 2 Carnifexes this month. I painted a Carnifex in the style of Blastoise because I love the first Blastoise as a Termagant, but I think a Carnifex would suit him so much better. Also, I don't even have words for this. I made a Bowser Carnifex, but I did not only make a Bowser Carnifex, I also made it a whole as diorama, and I have no idea what was going on, but I 3D printed a whole castle, which was actually a 3D scan of a real castle in Spain. They filmed it with a drone and 3D scanned it. Absolutely magnificent. And I butchered it so much. Like imagine him sitting there, my absolutely unhinged Tyrannid army. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna move my Carnifex 5 inches. And I'm like, moving the whole ass castle. Oh my god, good times, good times. And this is what it's all about. It's all about the fun. I would rate the Blastoise a B tier just because of the sheer reason I 3D printed this water base, which I think is really cool. And I also redid the painting scheme, I think, twice. But the Bowser Carnifex diorama, whatever this is, I'm gonna have to rate this Warp Slop. Sorry guys, this is an E tier rating. This is bad, but it's hilarious, so yeah. Anywho, next one. Now we're getting to the point in my Warhammer miniature painting journey that I tried to paint different miniatures than only Termagants. Did end up buying Sessa, and I painted her as Iron Mouse, which is a VTuber. This was also the first miniature I painted with an airbrush. I made so many mistakes painting this miniature, but you can really see my progress here, I guess. I loved how much more clean the miniature is. I loved the transitions on the wings because of the airbrush I was using. And it worked better than expected, to be honest. I love the base, so I think I would rate her an A tier just because it was really difficult, but still at the end I managed to create a miniature that was making me smile, and yeah, that's what it's all about. Okay, next one. Oh my gosh. Okay. Papa Nurgle, the great unclean one, into Jabba the Hutt. The correlation is 100% there. I had so much fun doing this. Obviously, I see so many flaws and I'm like, oh wow, I could have done this better, but it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna cherish the journey. And I also made him a tail of clay, and that was also very fun. The tail doesn't have the same color as the rest of the model. I really like this miniature. I love the idea, and I think this is an S tier because of the effort and the sheer size of the miniature and all the techniques I had to use. So yeah, it's really fun to look at. Okay, this one was a speed paints only challenge. I was trying out speed paints and I painted the engine of the gods. It came out quite nice, I think. It was really, really fun. It's also a bigger miniature, and I also did try to make like a nice basing. It is a very simple paint job just because I only used speed paints. There is no highlights, there is no washes, nothing. Yeah, it's cute. I like it. I would give it a B rating. Next. I 3D printed the whole body of this miniature and I just attached the head. It's Davy Jones. I wanted it to look like he has like little seashell. The idea is pretty cool. The execution is obviously still very simple, so I would give him a B tier. Next we have a monster termagant. I like the color scheme. It's super toxic and it was 33 degrees in Germany when I painted this. I was like, ugh, I need something cold. I need an ice cold monster. And this is what inspired me to paint the miniature like this. But it's still painted very, very simple. And I would give him, I think, a B. Yeah, I would give him a B rating. It's bold blasphemy, I would say. Okay, we're going over to Space Marines, and I painted Space Marines like Ghostbusters and also like Kiss the band, and that was super fun and obviously just for entertainment purposes. The paint job is not so nice, but that's totally fine. I would give them a D rating for the painting and maybe a C for the idea. So yeah, I would give them a C rating, I guess. So in the meantime, I was trying out different techniques and different materials, and I made a Spider-Man Space Marine, and that was really fun. I recreated this window and also the Green Goblin. And I also painted this with fluorescent colors, so it glows under UV light, so that was super cool. I would rate him an A tier. So generous with myself today, guys. Okay, so the next miniature is actually not a Warhammer miniature, but I always count it in because it was just so fun to make. It's a Monster Inc. diorama. It is a miniature, a 3D printed one by Crab Miniatures, which I really love, and it looks so creepy. And I painted the miniature obviously in the style of Sully and Mike. And it's just so fun to me because you have this like super terrifying, huge miniature, and it's painted in blue and purple, and also has like a teddy bear in his hand, and then there's like Mike with his huge eye. The two things I love about this diorama is that I made the teddy and Mike completely by hand out of Eva foam. I'm also proud of the eye. I was really trying to capture the iris and the colors and the details and the reflection of the eye. Yeah, that was just a miniature where I thought, oh cool, I learned something new, and that was like super nice, like a super nice feeling. So yeah, that was quite fun. I would rate this an S tier. It's not a Warhammer miniature, but I would definitely rate this an S tier just because it gave me so much joy, and come into this room, come into my office in the morning and I look at it, makes me happy. So that's definitely an S tier miniature. Okay, next. Oh yeah, that's cute. That was a commission. 3D printed some cute little wings. It was actually the same STL I used for the Scyther Pokemon. And I painted the miniature as requested as a ladybug. It looks so cute. And I would definitely rate this an A tier. Because it's just so cute and terrifying at the same time. Okay, so I made a Demogorgon Marine and also a Demogorgon Tyranid. I was watching the last season of Stranger Things, and it was, yeah, it sucked ass. That is pretty sad, but really, really fun to paint. And I also, right afterwards, turned another miniature into 11. Ta-da! That was also pretty cute. Yeah, and I also like to stay in a universe and just add a miniature from time to time to just add to the universe, so that's really fun. I would rate them a C tier, I would say. The idea is cool, the execution is meh, but you know, it's okay. I think it's okay. It's okay. Next. Oh yeah, it was Christmas. I 3D printed and painted a whole Space Marine helmet. That was pretty cool, and some of you guys actually won it in a giveaway. That was awesome. I'm not gonna rate this because it's not a miniature, but it was really, really fun to do this. An honorable mention. Okay, this one is one of my favorite Space Marines I've ever painted just because it was so stupid. I turned a Terminator into a gingerbread Marine. I also tried some freehand on the shoulder plates and also on the legs, and it was just so fun. And this is what I live for. Turning Terminators and Termagants and any other Warhammer miniatures into something fun and tasty. And a lot of you guys said he actually looks edible, which makes me really happy. And this miniature is also at Alpha Spell in Stockholm now. This is such a fun miniature. I would rate him an S tier as well. Oh yeah, and I also made a Candy Cane Tyranid. Fits the Gingerbread Marine, but I would rate him maybe a D tier. It's not well executed, but it just fit the Christmas spirit so much. Yeah, he's an abysmal abomination, I would say. Ooh. Okay, the next one is actually not one miniature, it's a whole diorama. And I turned a Necron kill team into a Matrix diorama. It was just so amazing to paint this. I think the Necrons fit the Matrix idea so perfectly, so well. And to see them come to life in a red color scheme instead of like a green color scheme, it was so fun to paint. I 3D printed Morpheus, I also 3D printed Neo, obviously, and Trinity. What I'm really proud of is the base, because I decided to paint thousands and thousands of digits by hand onto the base. And these are the real Matrix digits, which is actually sushi recipes. This is so fun. So yeah, I painted this all by hand. I had so much fun. I almost lost my mind, but it was absolutely worth it. It was so fun. Even if the diorama would have turned out super ugly, I would have rated this an S tier, just because of the effort and the time I put in and the fun I had, the joy I had to create this. And yeah, I would rate this an S tier because yay! It was so fun. I'm so happy with the result. Okay, next. The next miniature is definitely one of my bigger and most ambitious creations so far. It was a commission, and for this miniature, I didn't only want to paint a miniature, I wanted to do something else. I just wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to get out of my comfort zone. And even though sometimes I should stay a little bit longer in my comfort zone to learn a little bit more stuff, I'm just so curious and I just want to try things out. If I fail, that's okay. That's a learning too. And if it succeeds, awesome, that's great. I was thinking, man, there was a scene in the movie Mad Max. It sounds like me, man. So I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to adapt this. Paint a miniature, make music at the same time, and also resemble flames that are coming out of the guitar. I programmed it on an ESP32 via Arduino, and I also used LED lights. And yeah, this is how I created this Morkanaut that can actually play music via Bluetooth. Yeah, I would definitely rate this miniature in S tier, just because it was so above my skill level and I had so much fun doing it. It was just such an interesting learning journey, so I would definitely rate this an S tier. Man, I'm generous with my own miniatures. The next miniature is also an orc. I didn't even think about a different color scheme. I just started painting it in a classic color scheme. That was so weird. Turned out to look quite cool, in my opinion. And I love this miniature so much because it was also the first time I based on a plinth. And I also made the plinth myself because I was finishing the paint job and I was like, I want to base now. I don't want to wait any longer. I took a spice container I had at home, then I used this container and I made a plinth out of it. It was really fun. Just trying out new stuff every day. This is the final result and I loved it. It was kind of like a whimsical themed fairy Orc word chanter. I have no idea why, but yeah, I really loved the final result. It was so fun. We're kind of coming to the end of the journey, and I made a dolphin, Midnight Sun Zara Larsson inspired Space Marine, and I love her so much and I love the scheme. It's so beautiful and colorful and lovely. Yeah, I thought this is the perfect time to try NMM, so yeah, this is the result. I think he's so cute. And the dolphin is named Gerald. Yeah, again, the end result I really like and I would give him definitely an A rating. I love him so much, he's so cute. I also made an Easter Bunny Marine. That was also pretty fun because I 3D printed this egg and I put the miniature inside and I created like a pastel color scheme and I think he looks so cute. I love him. The paint job is pretty simple, so I would rate him maybe a B or a C, but the idea is pretty fun. And the last miniature I've painted some days ago was for a collaboration with the beautiful Space Marines. I painted a miniature in her style, she painted it in my style. So she painted a Nintendo miniature and I painted a Grandma style Space Marine, which is this kind of floral theme you can find on these plates in the cabinet of your grandma maybe. And I did freehands, so many freehands. This is the result, the floral kind of Space Marine freehand, and I had so much fun doing this. I totally loved it, and I was also focusing with the Dolphin Marine a little bit more on freehands just to, you know, let my creativity flow and just trying to get a little bit more brush control. I would definitely rate him an S tier because the color scheme is by Space Marines and I just love. These were all my Warhammer abominations I created over the past 1.5 years. Time flew by like it was nothing. It's just absolutely crazy. And as a like an end sentence, I think we as humans tend to be super critical when it comes to our own creations, and it's so much easier for us to say, oh, this miniature looks so good when it's from another person. But the idea behind this video is just to cherish the process, cherish the journey, and to focus on the fun of painting the miniature and also the ideas, the creativity, and also how much progress we made during this journey. I just wanted to let you know that if you are struggling, if you're seeing amazing miniature painters or amazing creations, don't worry guys, you're gonna get there. And even if not, it doesn't matter. Just have fun with the things you're doing. And I think Warhammer is an amazing hobby and has an absolutely amazing community. And I'm so glad to be part of it. And if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I also want to thank my Patreons for always supporting me. You guys are the reason why I can do all these shenanigans. And I can't wait to create the next abomination. I hope you're joining me for the next video. And until then, always stay chaotic and see you next time. Bye. Tschüss. Auf Wiedersehen.